Last chance to buy this desirable, scarce asset before it's too late. Why I believe the lower and middle class will get completely priced out of this scarce, desirable asset called Bitcoin by the year 2034. This is the start of a historic Bitcoin bull run. This bull run will be nothing like the ones we have seen before. This bull run will price out lower class, then the middle class, and finally the upper middle class by the year 2034. Let me break down the timeline and also the why. Timeline number 1, from today till December 2026. In this timeline, lower class will be completely priced out. That's a no-brainer. Individuals and families who earn below the average income don't have surplus income left to save in Bitcoin. With soaring rent, fuel, and food prices, lower income people are getting priced out of being able to afford Bitcoin. Due to soaring inflation, they are already being forced to buy lower quality food in order to survive. The lower class group still has a chance to put some money in Bitcoin now that it's still below $100,000 or even below $200,000. By the end of year 2026, Bitcoin will be much higher than $100,000. And at that point, it will require a lot of spare dollars in order to afford a tiny transactable fraction of Bitcoin. With rising inflation, lower class will have less and less spare dollars to be able to afford any Bitcoin by the end of the year 2026. Timeline number 2, from December 2026 till December 2030. Next will be the middle class. In the above timeline, middle class will get priced out. Middle class is already being eliminated all over the world. Inflation is gradually eliminating the middle class by forcing them to live a poor quality life. The middle class in the developed world still has a chance and can save spare fiat dollars into Bitcoin. By the end of year 2030, middle class will be priced out of Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be much higher than its current price by then, and inflation by the year 2030 will be so high that middle class will be turned into lower class and will only be surviving on their slowly increasing wages. Timeline number 3, from December 2030 till December 2034. This is the timeline where upper middle class gets priced out. This timeline would see a historic price increase in Bitcoin. By year 2032, the Bitcoin mining reward for miners will reduce to less than 1 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, which will make Bitcoin extremely hard asset at that point. Its supply will be very tight and demand will be very high, because by then global debt of all nations will be tremendously high, which means inflation will be very high. All fiat currencies will have very low value in terms of Bitcoin by then. So all of this would lead to a very high price of Bitcoin, which means in order to buy any transactable amount of Bitcoin, you will need to come up with an extreme amount of cash, which is harder to come up with in high inflationary environments, unless you are a billionaire. So even the upper middle class will be priced out of affording Bitcoin by the end of year 2034, which is only 10 years from now. Conclusion: Bitcoin is the most desirable and scarce asset amongst all the assets out there. It's priced appropriately right now and is affordable. As the governments create more inflation to fund their reckless spending, they need more victims who suffer the consequences of their spending and inflation. So they will try their best to close all the exits from fiat monetary system. Bitcoin is the only exit available right now. Every other asset that can be utilized as a hedge against inflation can still be inflated confiscated, and taxed. Bitcoin is free of all those deficiencies. Study Bitcoin before it's too late for you.